Hey, Fearless family.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Oh my goodness, is it hot? So normally we're in our backyard where we're very private. No one can see us at all. But today we are in our front
It is
yard.
way too hot to be on the
is
back
so hot.
in the sun. So we came out in our front, and we've never been out here before. So hopefully too many cars don't drive by.
Yeah.
And,
I even feel a little uncomfortable.
We'll make it work,
knowing our neighbors
one way or the other.
are probably watching or whatever.
Who does this? Who sits outside in the front yard?
There's actually only one neighbor that can actually see us. So
That's true.
Anyways, hey. Welcome everybody. Tuesday training. Really nice topic tonight. It seems like a really simple thing, but when you're in a hot market, and actually even when you're not in a hot market, getting those offers accepted, what does that translate to? That translates to less, frustration, less time wasting. And as investors, I remember very, very, very clearly when we were in our buying stage and we were buying really aggressively. I remember that, frustration of not getting our offers accepted, and here we'd get in touch with our joint venture partners, we get in touch with our our
get
mortgage
everyone
broker,
excited,
get everything kind of set, because we had to move quick. A lot of times we went unconditional. Thank you.
We should plug in our mics. Just give me one sec. We'll plug in our mic. I forgot to do that before we started and hit go. But hopefully that helps.
Oh, look. Okay, we do see comments. I was going to say you can see comments on there. Hey, guys. You're so sweet, Gadra. Okay, so, hey, welcome. So, Corey should be doing this from his tractor. So he saw this.
That would be fun, hey?
He saw this tractor. He's like, because actually when we did all our landscaping, I don't know if you can see it all, but we did all our landscaping ourselves one summer. And we bought a Bobcat, and then we used it for 2 years? Mm-hmm. Maybe more. And then sold it and still made money on it. So we, instead of renting it for all that time, so that's what he decided a couple days ago we should do.
Yeah, we have some work in our yard, some
not much though, like a pile of dirt or a pile of road crush.
Well, it's cheaper than renting a trailer or
totally.
a tractor, whatever. Yeah, good. It'll be fun too.
Anyways,
all right, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, though.
But I do remember the frustration of going out, seeing these properties, getting your team involved, getting things, getting a file open, getting all this kind of stuff going, and then it falls through, and how frustrating that was. So, in our peak, just for those of you guys who don't know us, we're Corey and Tiffany, so we help investors take their portfolios from 2, 5, 10 properties to, 15, 20, 50 if you want. So by scaling using joint ventures, by using other people's money, that's how we bought over 100 properties. And for those of you that do know us, you know that we did that, but a lot of people don't realize, and when I think back on it, it's so crazy. We did that in a 3-year period. So, we started slow and then we ended slow. But with that couple of years, we were rolling. I mean, we had a whiteboard in our office that had, property address, condition removal or deposit made, condition removal date, insurance was got, all these different things on our board. And sometimes that board would be full, and it was probably about 5 feet tall. So I think we had room for 10 properties on there. As tall as me, actually.
I love it.
So we had, a lot of properties going. And so wasting time on offers that didn't go through was the epitome of frustration when we were in our buying stage. So tonight's thing is, how did we get all those offers through?
Exactly.
And this is all him.
You know what? There's certain things that you can do when you're writing an offer, when you're preparing to write an offer, when you're looking at a property and you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna do an offer here. What are some of the steps that you should do prior to even writing this offer down? That's what we're going to focus on today. And next week, we're going to continue this topic because we feel it's important to go 2 weeks in a row on offer strategies. I mean, that's really where it all starts, right? If you're going to buy a property, you have to place an offer at some point. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. A few tips that are going to help you, 3 in particular, that are going to help you get your offers accepted, help you get a better negotiation, to do better during your negotiations, to make it easier, to make it simpler. That's really what this is all about.
So George says, I have no idea how you guys kept that all straight. We did have really good systems for it. However, don't think we didn't go crazy, George. That was insane. and not recommended. We ended up buying, things that we probably shouldn't have if we had taken more time. But we had goals and we were like, let's hit those goals.
And we had JV partners that wanted to go,
We did, yeah. So for sure.
That was all part of the fun. So today, offer strategies. Before we get to that, I just wanted to say hi to everybody here in Fearless. Hi to all of our Ignited members. We're seeing a lot of you commenting here. So thank you for that. All the participation that you guys can give us, the questions you have. So if you have questions or you're wondering, what is this all about or what does that mean? Just put it in the comments. Don't feel bad about putting in a question. There is no such thing as a dumb question. So we want that to be very, very clear. And throw it in the comments, guys. We can see the comments right in front of us. So when you have a question, put it in there so we can address it.
It is hot. That's why we are on the other side of our house.
Yes, where you are from, and say hi as you come on in, just so that everybody sees. Even if you're shy, I remember the first couple lives I went on, I was too shy to even say, hi, I'm from Edmonton, or hi, I'm from wherever. So just don't feel afraid. Everybody here is here to support you, and just put a comment in there saying hi. So we thank you for everybody to do that.
So Melanie says, okay, I never did ask you. So Melanie's one of our Igniteds, and of course, as you know her, she does our Fearless Mondays. So she does Mind Power Mondays. Did we keep all of them? Heck no, Mel. We sold most of them. Because most of them we bought that we shouldn't have bought. And so, if we had, we had mentors, Don Campbell, we had joined RAIN and he had helped us out. But, if we'd had maybe a coach, maybe we would have been a little bit better off. But we just kind of went, okay, this is how we do it. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And we bought a whole lot of stuff that if we had analyzed it better, we shouldn't. Yeah. And some of them we still hold today. Yeah. We have one coming up in August that we're going to be sharing with you guys on a Fearless training here. But we've had 2 tenants in there for the last 11 years. So, it's in rough shape. It's not beautiful. It needs to be beautified. We renovated when we first bought it. We put in, laminate flooring. Well, that's long gone. It was like that red laminate. We put in mushroom basket for paint. There's so many things. But, that was a long time ago. That's 11 years before. I mean, we bought that far before 11 years ago. But just in the we've only had 2 tenants for a long time. So we haven't updated the place. So anyways, we'll be doing a Tuesday training on that.
That's coming up later in the month.
But yes, did we sell most of them? Absolutely. So what we do now in helping our investors, as you know, Melanie is one of our Igniteds, we try to stop you from doing the stuff that you shouldn't do. Because lots of times it's not just what to do, it's what not to do. And that we probably have more experience with than anything. So
absolutely.
Anyways.
And so thanks everybody for saying hi.
Yeah,
thanks for saying where you're from. I love all the comments. That's great. From all across the country, we can see everybody. And yes, when Edmonton reaches 30 degrees, it should be a public holiday. I agree, Sam. This doesn't happen too often.
Right.
But here we are. Okay, so offer strategies today, guys. 3 different things we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you briefly what they are. Number 1, the number 1 thing that you have to do before you place an offer is ask questions. Now, what questions should you ask and how should you ask them? We're going to talk about that. Second thing that we're going to talk about today is using a multiple offer strategy. How do you do that? How can you make it simple? So we're going to talk about that. And the third thing that we're going to talk about today is putting a red herring in your offer. So some of you might know what I mean by that. Some of you, that might be the first time you're hearing it. But if we add in a red herring, and we'll explain what that means, it can make a big difference on getting our offers accepted. I'm going to share a story that really helped us out when we were in one of the properties.
Well, and just to give you a little hint, maybe I'm doing a spoiler here, but the hot tub that Corey sits in every morning and often every evening throughout our whole entire winters that sits on our deck, that was put in as a red herring. And anyways, came through. So there's lots of benefits to it. But yeah, so the 3 things we're going to talk about. What questions do you ask and what do you need to know before you place an offer? Multiple offer strategy. This is something I swear Corey came up with. I'm not just being partial. I'm sure he came up with it. And in dealing with homeowners and realtors, really, it's unreal how this changed the game for us. Yeah. Where to the point that we just got our offers accepted. We were always top of the pick. Like cream of the crop rose to the top. We rose to the top for some reason in multiple offers. At the time, our market, right now, the market we're in, doesn't apply. Because a lot of you are probably thinking, you guys are in Edmonton, like, you guys are flat. Of course you're getting your offers accepted. No. We're talking about stuff that works in crazy hot markets where you had to go in unconditional, like some of you are living in.
We were putting in offers regularly, unconditional. In fact, I don't recommend anybody to do this, and it probably was not, nobody would recommend anybody to do this, but we actually, this was back in the day when our realtor wrote out offers all the purchase contracts were in a book, and he would handwrite them, and rip the offer out of the book, and it made several copies all at once. One to give to the seller, one to give to us, one for him, and all of that. That was way back when, before even really printing and faxing and all of that kind of stuff. So we're making ourselves sound really old here, but but we actually signed
18 years ago, I guess,
several of those, and he had them in his pocket so that when he could go and something hit the market, he can go and present the offer.
That was later on.
Us having to sign it.
That was later on.
What's the point? The point is it was that hot of a market that we had to do one step up, and we trusted our realtor, had a great relationship, so that ended up not biting us in the butt.
He knew exactly what we
wanted. That's how hot the market was. So these suggestions that I'm going to give you today, that we're going to give you today, can work in a low market, a down market, can work in a flat market, can work in a hot market. Believe me, it can work in any market.
This can work whether you're dealing with a realtor or you're dealing directly with a seller?
Exactly, either one. And so some of these are going to be easier if you're directly with the seller. Definitely, it's easier to explain instead of having two parties in between you and the seller. Your realtor, the other realtor. But can they work if you're working with a realtor? Absolutely, and that's why we suggest all the time, make sure you're working with an investment-focused realtor, because they can explain this stuff way easier. Way
easier. They get it already. You don't have to teach your realtor, right? So I was just going to say, so with the situation that a lot of people are in today, having been the highest unemployment rate since 1930s, a lot of businesses closing, a lot of tough stuff. So at the end of the day, really, we're going to be coming into a time period where we have a lot of opportunity to be talking with individual, sellers, people that are wanting out of their place and that we can talk to one-on-one. And that's where where we built our portfolio on, was dealing at first, but it's a whole lot more work. So it took us a lot more to get going. Once we created relationships with realtors is when we really took off. But when you are talking one-on-one with someone, a seller, someone who's motivated to sell, what are the kinds of things you need to know before you put in an offer? This is before.
Here's the biggest mistake, and we're going to get to point number one. Point number one is to ask the right questions. Okay, guys, before you ever write an offer, there's a lot of things that you should know, not only about the property, but about the seller. And if you can find the answers to these things, it's going to help you tremendously when it comes to actually getting your offer accepted.
So what kind of questions do we need to know?
Let me give you an example. Some of the questions that you want to ask, and again, this is easier if you can talk directly to the seller, but it works as well, even if you're working with a realtor. Number one thing, find out the motivation of the seller. Now, we're going to talk primarily of you being a buyer, okay? So you're the buyer in this scenario. What do you want to find out from the seller? Number one, you want to find out their motivation. And I suggest to write this down because this is very important. Find out why they're selling. Now, sometimes that answer is in the listing. Has to move out of the country, has to move to another province, got transferred for work, or it might be in the description of an MLS listing. The realtor, if there's a realtor, might just come out and tell you. The seller just might come out and tell you, but you have to ask the question. And the reason for finding out, okay, go ahead.
Okay, but is that not something that's a little inappropriate to ask? Why are they selling? Like, won't the realtor go, well, I'm not going to tell you that?
They might.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might, and you might not be able to find that question out, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Here's the whole point. It doesn't hurt to ask the question, and if you don't ask, you'll never get the answer.
A good realtor, and this is something we learned, so this is how important offers were to us. Corey actually became a realtor after our buying stage because he realized how bad people are at making offers and negotiating. So he became a realtor to negotiate on behalf of other investors. He does not do that anymore. He's still licensed, but he doesn't do transactions. However, he would ask every time on behalf of our clients. He would say, so why are they selling? And you know what? A good realtor would have said, I'm not telling you that, dude. Like, that's not your business. But guess what? How many people told you?
99%.
Yeah.
So here's the key. And yes, Mel,
Even through a realtor.
Melanie asked, do you get your realtor to ask the listing realtor? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So ask your realtor or ask yourself, why are they selling? Are they wanting to move out of the province? Are they wanting to move to a closer school somewhere? Are they, was there, maybe a death in the family? Is there, they're going through financial issues and they can't hold the place, can't make the payments? There could be 1.5 million different reasons why somebody's selling. But here's the key. If you find out why they're selling, once you find that out, you can start to then tailor your offer so that it'll work out better for them. Because here's the key is, in a lot of cases, we think, oh, price, and that's the only thing we're negotiating on. But there's so many things involved in a negotiation, such as possession date, what kind of conditions you're allowed to have and that they'll accept. Different things that are included in the offer, including your red herring, which we're going to get to in a few minutes. So there's so many other things that actually could be more valuable to you than just the price. That can make a big difference. So number one thing you need to know is, why are they selling? And if you know that, that's going to give you a leg up in your negotiations. And that information can come in very valuable, if not right at the beginning, even later on down the road. As you're going through your buying process, it can become very helpful if you know that.
And just a tip when working with a realtor, ask your realtor to ask. And if they go, oh, well, they're not going to probably tell me that or whatever, just say, yeah, I appreciate they might say no, but can you just ask them? See if you can find out and get them to ask on your behalf. And like Corey said earlier, it's amazing how many people told, which they shouldn't have, but they did. And timelines.
Yeah, here's the thing. Sometimes we just go into a transaction and we're assuming too many things.
Yes.
For example, we might assume that because these people have their house for sale, that they want to sell it right away. We might assume that.
Right?
Oh yeah, I'm coming in, I'm going to give you cash.
That's a decent assumption.
You can be out in 30 days. But how many sellers might want to actually still live there for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months before they have to leave? They're just putting it on the market at this point. So here's the thing. Finding out answers to these questions makes a big difference, and it enables you to then tailor your offer. Maybe give them a 6-month long closing, a possession date 6 months down the road, because that could work really good for you. You're getting it at today's price, but you don't have to pay for it for another 6 months, or you don't have to pay for it for another 8 months, or maybe a year down the road, because they need to sell, but they don't necessarily want to leave. And so there's lots of things. That's just one example.
We used to offer, so when we would find that out, we would offer super long conditions. So we would put in our offers, which again, always mostly got accepted, especially in multi-offer situations. We would put in an offer, let's say, for their asking price, not over. And others were coming in with over asking, right? But they had to be out in 30 days, 60 days, whatever. We would come in, we were like, oh, the motivation, I bet you they want to stay in that house. Like, they don't want to move in the middle of winter. Like, so we would come in at price, at offer price. And we would do a long closing, like 7 months, I think was our longest. And we would just be like, you can stay in there until then. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That you'd be surprised how many people were like, this is the answer that we've been looking for. Yeah. It was so stressful.
And that actually can enable you to get a much better price. You know, we can save thousands and thousands of dollars because we're helping somebody's situation out.
So
and that's
solve
really
their problem.
The key. And we talk about this all the time when it comes to finding JV partners, but even when it comes to selling or buying, make sure you find out the motivation. Talk to them. What's their problem? Can you fix it? If you can fix somebody's problem, make this whole process simple for them. Absolute difference. You can probably get a better price. You can get your terms. You can get whatever it is you want.
So why would we want to know, like, how long they've lived there or owned the property? What insight does that give us, or intel?
You know what? So there's so many different reasons why we'd want to know. For example, how long somebody's lived there. Is this a property that's been in their family for generations? Is it something that they don't want to just see get wrecked by tenants?
Do they have an emotional attachment?
Do they have an emotional attachment to it? Mm-hmm. Is this a property that they bought 6 months ago and they've moved in and they saw the neighbors, met the neighbors, and they want out of the neighborhood? These are the kind of things that you find out when you ask these questions.
It gives us insight too into how much money they owe on it, not much they owe on it, but how much they would have paid for it, and whether or not they're, gaining here and have some money to play with, or losing, or going to break even. And that too gives you some intel into, into what you're going to do with your offer to, again, solve whatever problem they want. If there's no money in it, and you know that, and you know that they don't have the money even to pay a realtor, well, then they're going to be open to more creative options. And so these questions are important to be asking.
So we're just going to run through these again. Some questions that you need to know. What is their motivation? Why are they selling? Find that out. Make sure you know the answer to that. Do they want a long closing? Do they want a quick closing? Find out
Ask
whether
their
they want
ideal
that.
closing date.
What is their
You'd be
ideal closing date?
surprised.
Sometimes somebody's mortgage is up for renewal on April the 17th, and they want this house sold on April 17th, so they don't have to pay any
But they didn't list
payout
it.
penalties.
But they didn't list it until March 30th.
Sometimes that could be 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
That works out perfect for them. So these are the things where it's going to help you. If the property is already rented, what is it rented for? Get all of those details about the tenant, all of that stuff. When was the last time the furnace was replaced? The hot water tank, the roof, all the big ticket items. You want to know those kinds of things before you place your offer. Now, if you know these things beforehand, that gives you a lot of negotiation power. And so that's why we just wanted to mention that point number one, guys, is before you write an offer, make sure you just probe.
And
ask
make
questions.
your realtor do it.
Yes,
like Carol.
ask.
So Carol's a realtor in Ontario and deals with investors, is an investor herself. Says like, okay, you may never get the truth, but at least you asked. Not many ask. So you be that one that stands out, because doing that extra 10% is going to help you. There was a question here too. Okay, Mon says, that's kind of a long closing. Who pays for those costs? They want to stay in their homes lots of times. They don't want to move in winter, or they want to, be able to live in a motorhome or whatever it is. So they pay for it. They're happy to continue paying for it.
It's still their house. They would still make their payments as normal.
You've just agreed to buy their place in 6 months from now instead of buying their place in, 2 months from now.
Sometimes the problem is we assume,
a month from now.
It's listed, okay, we got to take possession in 30 days or in 60 days or in 90 days. That doesn't have to be the case. We could take possession a year down the road. We could take possession in 5 days if you're paying cash. So that number can fluctuate depending on their situation, depending on your situation. So that was point number one, guys. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about that? What are you going to ask more questions the next offer you put in? What question out of all the ones we talked about do you think would be the most important for you? So put that in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think about that suggestion, that tip, asking more questions before writing the offer. Let us know what you guys think, okay?
So number two. This is my favorite.
Okay. Multiple offer strategy. Now, why would we want to place more than one offer on the same property? Here's another assumption we have, guys, is that when we're placing an offer, we can just put in one. But, somebody else might place an offer. Somebody else might place an offer. We can place more than one offer on that property, and we can change it up. We can give them multiple offers. Here's the key, and this is what I found.
This is by mistake that he found this out, but man, did it change
every single time, 100% of the time, which was super cool. When we put in a multiple offer, we used the multiple offer strategy. We always did three different offers. The seller chose one of the three.
Which one they wanted.
So we didn't get a no. We didn't get a counter.
Yeah.
But they chose one of the three. So that's the key. So when you do give them multiple offers, so for example, let's say a house is for sale for $300,000. If we go in and just...
Don't worry about it. Just ignore me.
If we go in and just buy the house... Okay, you're moving this one.
Yes, I know. Sorry.
All right. We might put in an offer of what? Let's say $275,000, $280,000. If we got that, let's say the market value is $300,000, we're getting it under market value, we're happy. Okay. But maybe what we can do is put in an offer that, and now here's the key. If we've already found out that they want a longer closing, let's say they want a 4 or 5 month closing, because we asked that question, we could now put in an offer of, let's say, 270 with the ideal closing date, 280 with a closing date in 30 days. Okay, we could start to play around with some of the other things that we're going to give to them. We might use a VTB, a vendor take-back mortgage, where they're going to hold some of that equity for us. We're not going to pay it to them right away. We're going to pay it to them down the road at a specific interest rate. So maybe we'll pay them $290, but 20,000 of that we're going to end up paying down the road in a form of a mortgage. And we always do a balloon payment mortgage, by the way, which means we pay the mortgage and we do all the payments at the end. We don't make monthly payments on those mortgages. So there's a few things, a lot of things I just said there, but we can start to give them more than one option. And when we give more than one option, what happens is people tend to pick one.
Okay, so if I say to you, what's your favorite color? Red, blue, or yellow? Right now. Red, blue, or yellow. So you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose purple. You don't get to choose green. You don't get to choose your actual favorite color. Which one of these do you like best? Put it in your comments. Red, green, or yellow. Which one
You
of
said
these?
red and blue, yellow before.
Oh, okay. What? Oh, red, blue.
Red, blue, yellow. Red, blue,
red,
yellow.
blue, yellow. Red, blue, yellow. So if that's the only options that you're given, guess what? It's amazing. Even if red, blue, and yellow, none of those are my favorite color. But if I'm asked, which of these do you like best? I'm going to choose one. She'll say like blue. So I'm trying to figure this stupid thing out.
Just
I'm trying to do something for
video.
Jazz is like
in another camera as well.
Okay, that might work.
Let's just
Okay,
leave it there.
anyway.
Hopefully it stays.
Well, I'm trying to make it so that our eyes look like they're
Okay,
looking
Rochelle
there
says
too.
purple. Joan and yeah,
Of course you do,
lots
Rochelle.
of people say blue. So what's the point though? It's not about the color. What the point
Oh,
is,
it's kind of
guys,
interesting though.
It
It's
is
kind
kind
of
of
neat.
interesting.
Yeah, everyone's
a lot of
saying
people
blue.
like blue.
But guess what? They choose one. They don't say,
Mm-hmm.
I want purple. When you've given them 3 offers, you give them 3 offers. They go, okay, this one. They don't go, well, I would like blue, but I'd like to have it some red in it, so then it'll end up being purple. So please just, can we? No, they just go, okay, you've given me 3 options. I take option B. And then you have an accepted offer without negotiation.
I can't remember. I remember the first time that somebody got back to me on that, and I had sent them. And here's the key, guys. I wouldn't write up with your realtor or yourself 3 separate full purchase contracts. I wouldn't go through that effort. What I usually do is either in an email or with a simple Excel spreadsheet is write 3 different options. Option A, option B, and option C. Here's what you get in option A. This is how it looks. Here's what you get in option B. This is what it looks. This is what's different. And here's what you get in option C. This is what's different. 1 page. Here's the key.
It's beautiful.
1 page, super simple, very little content on there, but you're giving 3 different offers. Here's your spreadsheet. Let me know which one of these would work best for you. This one's a long closing. This one's a short closing. This one's in between. This one's a high price. This one's a low price. This one's in between. This one includes this or that. This one doesn't. So when you start to tailor those and you give the 3 options, somebody says, well, I need to get this price. I need to get $290. Okay, well, perfect. Well, then we go with option C. But I need a long closing. Okay, well, then you can go with option A. And they pick one, and that's
it's
the
done.
beauty. Yeah.
It's done deal. So now you guys, I saw actually a couple questions from our Ignited members. They're like, well, how do you present that or whatever? So guys, it's the 3 offer spreadsheet that we have in Ignited. So you already have that. So maybe tonight in Laser, we'll just quickly show you which one that is and how to access it. But that is literally that simple. And it's literally how we used, what we did all those years. So, and got more. I love it. Everyone's like, poll, right, Greg? That's what George, that's probably what I should have done. But yeah, it's amazing.
I haven't figured out how to do polls here while we're live yet, and I don't really want to play with this right now.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
We'll try to figure out how to do that.
Lamborghini. How about a Corvette? How about we do a poll for this? Isn't he too old to buy a Corvette? Because he's an old man driving a Corvette now.
So stop for a second. I've been wanting a Corvette, guys. I've been wanting to
For
get a Corvette
his entire life,
for
yes.
20 years.
And
it's on
he
my
should
It's on my why list, and
Oh, brother.
and you know, it's one of the things I've always dreamed about. But you know, we focused on Tiffany's
hope you
why.
caught that.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Kind of true, actually.
So
My parents are a little
anyways,
more important than a car.
I'm looking at a couple cars right now, and yeah, who knows what'll happen here soon. But
the key is he can buy it. We play with it for a year and then sell
Tiff
it.
thinks I'm too old to drive a Corvette.
What color? Grant wants to know what color. I say white. Never too old. Ah, what? Seriously?
Yes,
I
look
think
at this.
he's too old for
Look
it.
at
I
this.
think he's going to be that
Perfect
creepy
timing,
guy.
Perfect timing.
No, a newer Corvette.
Yeah.
But one that he can sell next year for the same as what he bought it for. So his thing is, we're not spending anything except for
I don't
insurance.
see one person that says not to buy one. I
Buy
like
a red one?
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh,
Tesla.
man.
Yeah.
Make
Corey-
him a young man again.
I love it. Okay.
Oh,
So,
well, you know what? There's a whole lot saying.
Yeah,
red,
Sylvie-
blue, or yellow rose. I love it.
Blue Corvette. I have my eyes on a blue one right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
never too
we'll see.
old.
There we go.
All
Okay, well
right.
that's clear. That's like a better than a pole.
I don't think I'd want to drive it, Carol. That is pretty clear, actually. But I'm serious that I feel like he'd be that creepy old guy. And
Come
like,
on.
no, I do.
All right.
And I don't want you to be that.
We'll talk about this after. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
All
where
right.
are we at here?
Okay, guys. So,
oh.
multiple offer. I saw a question. I'm curious to how this multiple offer idea accidentally
Silly.
happened. You know what? It did happen for me accidentally. Is we had a seller who happened to be somebody we knew. We knew them. It was a little bit more awkward, I would say, to be talking financial stuff and to be buying the property. They knew we were in real estate. They contacted us.
It
and
becomes that you're
it was
the
a little
person to
bit more
solve their
awkward.
problems.
Yeah,
Was
for
it
us because
Edie?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So because of that, we just kind of said, here are some options, guys. And
Mm.
it kind of took that awkwardness out. Instead of us just giving them one option, we were giving them more, and they could choose any of the three that they wanted. And it took a little bit of that awkwardness out. And I think that's how we fell into the strategy. And from that point on, we used it on several different properties that we ended up buying. And
I didn't realize
every
that.
single one of them, they just chose. They chose one of the three options. So I sat there a long time making sure that I would be okay with them choosing any of the three. Okay, so there's a bit of a key, is you want to be okay with them choosing any one of the three.
Right.
So if there's one of them you don't like for one particular reason or not, then change some of the things that are included in it or with it that it makes it worthwhile for you. So always make sure that all three are options are good for you, but I do try to tailor one of them to be the one that they will end up choosing. And that just takes practice, guys. Okay, any other questions?
No, everyone's just saying he's not creepy. Let him buy the Corvette.
Okay, well, I might have an update for you by next week, guys.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, knowing him though, actually, the way things move. But I love
Okay.
it though. Mel says you better act quickly if you're
Yeah,
gonna though,
that's
because
right.
you're almost there.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, right? Like, let's just be honest about this. Anyways, okay, so
Okay, so we covered...
want the fun stuff?
Okay.
You want to know how we got almost a boat, a really nice boat, how we got a hot tub in our yard, how we've gotten some nice furniture even. Like, okay, what is it?
So,
What's the trick?
Red herring, okay? Who knows what a red herring is? You've heard that expression before. What's the purpose of putting a red herring in your offer? I want to see some opinions. So I'm going to wait here. What does it mean to throw a red herring in your offer? I know some of you have heard this before, but it might be new to some of you
Okay, well,
as
just give us the premise
Okay?
of what red herring is.
Okay, so here's a red herring. The origin of that sense, that we use it all the time, you know, in our English language nowadays, but the origin actually is traced back to the 1800s, believe it or not. And there's when this English journalist, and I'm kind of reading this because I typed it out for myself today, he was a boy and he would throw the hounds off. So he was out hunting. He would throw the hounds off by throwing the scent of a hare. So the hounds were
Herring.
tracking. Sorry. Yes. They were tracking a hare, and they were tracking a hare, a rabbit. Okay, you know what a hare is, right? Yeah. Okay, and to throw them off, to try to train them, they would throw a red herring, so that would divert the attention of those hounds, And they would have to then find that scent again. Okay, so what's the point of a red herring is to divert attention. Okay.
I'm showing my.
All right.
I'm
Do we have
showing
some
my
responses
silly.
here?
Yeah. This makes you stand out from the crowd.
I see a lot of car talk.
A lot of cars.
BMW.
Porsche, Boxster. Yeah. Okay. So makes you stand out from the crowd. It distracts. So someone actually gave the right answer
Calvin.
here. So Calvin, rhetoric. It's used as a distractor. Someone else said it as well.
So you insert into a discussion or insert into an offer. Here we're talking real estate. So you insert this red herring into an offer, and it sidetracks the discussion. Okay? So let's just put that simply. Just like you throw a red herring in front of these hounds and it sidetracks that scent. You know, they're chasing the hare, but it sidetracks them. Okay? I don't know what's so funny about that.
Because I thought you were saying a hare.
Okay.
Like a hare.
Okay. Yes, Andrew, they dragged the herring across the fox's trail. Okay? So that would distract the dogs. Okay, how do we use this in an offer? Okay, I'm going to give you an example. This was 13217. You remember that property? When we were doing the negotiation.
It was our first joint ventured property. Our very first one that we ever joint ventured.
It was, yeah. And in the negotiation process, we found out, because we asked the questions, guys, and we were dealing directly with the seller in this case.
And this took like 3 months to get through because we were learning.
Yes. And we used a 3-offer strategy. But what's the point? I knew that he had a car for sale. I knew that they were moving to Saskatchewan. They're moving out of province. They didn't want to take the car with them. They could only drive one vehicle. They were filling up their truck and a trailer with all their stuff. They were moving out of the province. They had this car here. They were trying to sell it, and they, whatever. So what I did is I actually included, and I got the VIN number. I got him to send me the VIN number of his, it was a Pontiac Sunbird, Sunfire back at the time. And I had put that in the offer. So I made it so that
you must
his
have been
car,
like, why do you want
I think he was trying to get $5,000-$6,000 for it, something like that. It wasn't an expensive car. And so I put that in the offer. And it's funny because when I sent the offer to him and he responded to me, he's like, what the heck? Why'd you include the car? I thought you were like trying to buy it separately or something. I'm like, no, I was just including it here in the offer. So what did it do though? Is it distracted them from, that's the only thing they focused on. They focused on one thing. They only focused on the car. They actually had no issue with the price that we were buying it for. They had no issue with the amount of deposit we were putting down. They had no issue with the condition period that we had. They had no issue with the closing date that we wanted. They had no issue with any of that stuff. And there was a pond in the backyard. There was a whole bunch of other stuff. So we included all of that. We included it. But when we threw in the car, it distracted them. Now, are we trying to cheat somebody by doing this? Absolutely not. In fact, I made sure that he knew that it was in there. I'm not just trying to, slip this past him. But something just flew into my water.
Oh, yes.
But what's the point? The point is that all the other stuff, as soon as I took that car off of the offer, he was fine with everything else. So that really aided in our negotiation because I was not only going under market value and not only wanting the possession date we wanted, and not only did we have these conditions on there that we wanted and all this other stuff, but by throwing that red herring into the process, it helped us in the negotiation.
So part of it was that it gave them something to say no to. And so whenever someone feels like they're winning, that's always a good thing, right? Whether you're talking to a joint venture partner or you're talking to a seller or you're talking to your kids, it's a good thing when they feel like they've gotten something for having given something. And so it gave us, and he would do this often it was a lawnmower, some of the furniture of the house, whatever we thought would actually, kind of catch their attention as being odd. Sometimes you'd even get it. And they'd at first be like, well, I don't know about that. Like, that's my boat, but it would kind of distract them, but it gave them something to say no to you on. And when they got emotionally attached to whatever it was that you were throwing in there that distracted them, then they stopped looking, and they didn't feel like they could ask for, the red herring back and the price and the possession date and it's like they had to pick. They had to choose.
And it helps you to just say, okay, fine, I'm going to give up on that one.
Yeah,
we're going to put that aside. We're not going to take that hot tub in the backyard, or we're not going to take your car, or whatever it might be. But what we're going to do is, are you okay with everything else on the offer? Okay, absolutely.
Okay, and
great
this.
point, Grant, about, he said, I asked for a $5,000 lawn tractor. You just moved it.
Oh, sorry.
Then we got
Seller said no way.
Then we got a $5,000 price decrease.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the whole point in this, is just throw your offer off. So when you are walking through this property, or when you are looking at a property that you're potentially going to buy, look at everything that is there. And again, this goes back to point number one, guys. If you know their motivation, if you know that they're moving overseas and they can't take that heavy piano with them, if you know all of these sorts of things because you've asked the questions, it's going to help your negotiation process.
It's true. Okay, seriously, Marie, I love how you think when you put in an offer for a Corvette after they buy their house too. There's a red herring.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what? You're here for my car. What? Okay, so... Oh, look at that. So Lackbear says, she recently sold her primary residence, and the offer the buyers asked for decorative mirrors. And she's like, I couldn't understand why, and all I could focus on. So it's just, yeah.
There you go. And you know what? I'm sure you were still happy with your offer, Lackbear, but yes, that's probably exactly what they did. They may or may not have even really cared about the mirrors, but it just distracts, right? And so, not that we're trying to slip things past people, but what we are trying to do is we're trying to get what we want in a negotiation. But here's the key. I want to make this very, very clear. My definition of winning a negotiation is getting a deal done. Okay?
Okay, do you hear that?
My
so
version
stop.
of, or
Just
our
stop for
version.
1 second.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think winning is getting as much out of it as was possible. There's 99.9 cents out of that dollar that you got. Now you won. Guess what? We've seen it come and go many times. People that live and breathe and work that way in real estate and in life, really. But in real estate, they end up with maybe 1 or 2 deals. Great. That's awesome. But it's not 100 deals, or it's not 22 deals, or whatever your number is. Because the important part about making a deal a win is actually getting a deal.
Getting a deal done.
Everyone got that? Does everyone got that? Heck yeah. Would you throw that in the comments?
Heck yeah, guys, because it's not about getting everything
you
want
that?
And letting the seller feel like they got absolutely nothing. That is not winning a deal. Because
your realtor
in more
won't love
times
you
than
either.
not, for number one, you're not going to get that deal. It has to be a win-win in most cases for it to work. And I've seen where people do get on paper everything they want, but then what happens when they actually take possession of the house? It was not cleaned. It was left in a bad condition.
Right? Because they think you're just a jerk.
There was one case where it ended up costing an extra $30,000 because the pool equipment was not taken care of, because the people just didn't care, because they felt like they got taken. And so they just left it over the winter. They didn't care. And bang, these people walk in, and what's their recourse? So what's the point? You don't win if the other party doesn't win.
Heck yeah,
and so really,
heck yeah,
it's all
baby.
about
I love it.
getting a deal done. That's winning a negotiation, guys.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that point. I love that you're driving that home at the end of this, is that a successful offer is not just one where you've gotten everything that you desire. Yeah. It's also making it a win for everyone else. And that makes it a win for you, because if not, you come off as the jerk. And there's a consequence to that too. So yeah, I love it. And look at the little heart showers, and
awesome.
I love it.
Love it,
so
guys.
Good.
Great feedback. Thank you for all the comments.
Yeah, thanks for the participation.
Thank
it
you
makes
for,
it fun.
way to go, guys. You know what? When we look at our comments, we see them all going by, and we see the hearts and all of that kind of stuff. It just it makes us feel good, and it motivates us. So awesome, love it. Okay, so those are the 3 points. That's what we wanted to share today, and this continues next week, guys. We're going to be talking
a little more in depth,
more offer strategies next week. We're going to actually run through some numbers next week. of some examples of how we did the multiple offer strategy and how exactly all this kind of stuff works.
Okay, Andrea Jones, your dream of a whiteboard training is probably going to come true next week.
Yeah, we're going to try to set up a whiteboard. We're going to try to run through an actual example. We're going to try to, we'll see. We'll see. No promise yet, but we're going to try.
But at the end of the day, we're going to run through a little bit more in depth of how these things can work out. Real life stories, so case studies that we've had of how they worked out. As well as some of the things that you might want to put into your offers now. So that's next week. So join us for part 2 as well. We did our plan for the month of August for our Tuesday trainings. We've got some awesome stuff coming up. I'm excited for it. It's great topics. So let us know what you guys want to hear. If you guys have an idea for Tuesday training, something that you really need to know, you're not finding, it's elsewhere, or you just want like a more verbatim kind of, not verbatim, creative way of saying it or whatever, then let us know and we'll try to incorporate that in some of our training. So for those of you who are looking to scale and do more, we have a consult set up on our website now, so you can book in for a half-hour call with Corey or myself and just kind of tell us where you're at, what you're doing, and if you're looking for that extra hand and you're wanting to have a mentor or a coach, all that stuff, then we have that consult page set up on our website, so you can always book yourself in there. But let us know what you need, and we will try and incorporate it into Tuesday trainings.
Our website is investorlife.com, so it's pretty simple. That's where you go. Go to the Ignited page, because that gives you the information about what's included in our Ignited program. Our Ignited program is open year-round for people to join. We do talk about it a lot at our boot camp, but it's open year-round. So if any of you are interested in that, by all means, go there and check that out.
And Ryan, he's not a Flames fan, but he's
definitely not a Flames fan.
A diehard. Sean Kearney and Corey are huge diehard Oilers fans. So I'm sure as soon as Ignited, and as soon as
one thing I learned about
session,
Sean right off the bat.
Yeah, as soon as the laser session is over tonight, he'll be on the TV, I'm sure, with the
Oilers Flames tonight. It's not a regulation game, but just a practice game. But looking forward to the playoffs. How about the rest of you? You looking forward to hockey? Hockey is back.
Oh, he could not be more excited.
Baseball's back. Basketball's back. Well, we'll see what happens with the NFL and baseball, but it looks like the NHL's
semblance of normal.
Looking pretty good so
Rangers.
far.
Ooh,
it should work. So
really, Rangers.
Ranger fan.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Don't hear that too much out our way, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So thanks for being here. We'll see you next Tuesday for Offer Strategies Part 2. We'll get a little bit more in depth. Today was just kind of overall. Thanks for all the participation. Really makes it a whole lot funner. So thanks, guys. And we will see you next week. And Igniteds, we'll see you over in Laser
Whiteboard session from inside the Corvette next week. Yep. Yeah, that sounds good.
Knowing him, he does act pretty quick. So knowing him, you never know. But anyways.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us again. We see you next week, and our Igniteds, we'll see you in a few minutes. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll get our laser session going. All right, take care, guys.
Cheers.